They can look brutal or peaceful. They may be practiced as a sport or as a spiritual search. But all the martial arts stem from the pressures of battle. Their actions are above all the actions of combat, where they were a matter of life and death. The stakes are different today. Firearms have changed the rules of engagement. But the martial arts have proliferated, adapting to new goals and aspirations. In Japan, at the end of the 19th century, Jigoro Kano was the first to question the murderous purpose of martial arts. Of the unarmed combat techniques of the samurais, he retained only those that were practiced on a tatami mat, involving no physical danger. What interested him were the holds, the moves, and the notion of loss of balance. He saw particular benefits for man and society in a physical and mental education based on the traditional training of the warrior. This education, based on a safe, supple and dynamic test of skill, he called Judo, the yielding way.
La voie de la souplesse, elle est là, quoi. C'est d'accompagner l'adversaire, c'est la subtilité de l'accompagnement de l'adversaire dans son sens de déplacement. C'est partie d'échec, un combat de judo. C'est-à-dire que vous avancez votre fou pour lui faire réagir sa reine et pour la faire piquer par un petit pion. C'est un peu ça.
There is no desire to annihilate someone. All that's at stake is a fall and being pinned. It's a symbolic death, no longer to be feared. The opponent has become a partner.
Il y a vraiment la notion de l'autre. C'est deux hommes face à face, c'est le combat. Et dans ce combat, sans parler, il y a plein de notions qui traversent, qui passent entre les gens. Quand je prends le kimono d'un adversaire, déjà rien que parce que je capte au niveau de mes bras, au niveau de ma main, je connais des choses sur lui. Je sais si ça va être quelqu'un de fuyant, quelqu'un de franc, quelqu'un de rugueux. Tout ça, c'est des informations qui passent entre les gens, mais tout ça, ça passe et c'est réel.
A shift came about between the original judo and judo as a sport. For Jigoro Kano, judo was not simply a fighting system, but a physical and mental training with no losers or winners. Sport, however, needs victories, and in the 1930s, the first competitions were organized in Japan. Samurai hand-to-hand fighting used both the holds of judo and the punching techniques of karate. Kicks and punches were a substitute for lost weapons. Clinches enabled you to control and throw the enemy to the ground. These two disciplines were separated for the sake of competition. Kicks and punches were forbidden in judo. Holds and throws were forbidden in karate. The establishment of weight categories confirmed their status as sports. As combat sports, the aim was no longer to beat an opponent, but to win according to the rules. In competitive karate, only pulled punches struck above the belt are counted. Others can be penalized.
Le karaté dans la partie sportive est un sport très codifié, très astreignant et surtout on n'est pas trop libre de s'exprimer pleinement avec son corps puisqu'il y a pas mal de retenues dans le karaté. Mais disons que moi en tant que compétiteur, je me suis pas senti ni lésé ni comment dire diminué dans mes possibilités physiques. Pour moi, l'efficacité dans le karaté, c'est être le meilleur dans un règlement. Voilà. Et lorsque je suis le meilleur dans ce règlement, je suis le plus efficace dans ce que j'ai décidé d'être le meilleur du monde. Voilà. On a des règles qui sont faites de telle manière que, à tout moment, si un compétiteur a envie d'engendrer la violence et d'oublier qu'on pratique un art martial, à tout moment, on pourrait avoir des accidents graves. Je vais vous donner une simple et bonne raison, c'est que le contrôle au visage est demandé au niveau des coups de poing. Si vous tombez sur un adversaire qui n'a plus envie de contrôler, à un moment donné, à tout moment dans le combat, il peut décider de vous envoyer un grand coup de poing dans la figure et vu la puissance des coups et les protections que l'on a, ça sera un accident grave. Au même titre que les balayages sont autorisés, mais pas les coups de pied dans les jambes. À tout moment, une personne, s'il décide de vous casser le genou, il peut le faire. Et qu'est-ce qui, à mon avis, sert de garde-fou à toutes ces possibilités? C'est l'esprit et l'art martial qui est derrière le karaté.
But this discipline is hardly satisfying to those who look back to the full impact of its warlike beginnings.
This is the main event. Benny Urquidez.
Full contact disciplines began in the 1970s. The practitioners no longer wanted to pull their punches. They put on boxing gloves and climbed into the ring.
#1 contender for their world kickboxing title over here.
Benny Urquidez, the creator of kickboxing, retired undefeated after 63 challenges to his title.
Like I say, shows great sportsmanship.
Under the new rules, full contact blows delivered to the opponent had a cumulative effect. The aim was to win by knockout.
No, I think they're going to... There's the left hook.
Beautiful.
Something left hook finishes or misses, or the finish would be right here.
Suzuki trying to keep his hands up. That's the problem with Benny. Ooh, beautiful.
In martial arts, to me, touching like this is not a reality because there's no threat. There was no threat there. It was just, how fast are you? Quick draw. But in kickboxing, you're making contact. That means there's a threat.
And, like many of the other fighters in Japan, they're tremendous right hand.
That doesn't happen often. Look at Benny. He's right back up, smiling.
Benny acknowledges, yes,
Yeah,
no count,
yeah.
very
In
good.
boxing, they were hitting me. I had bloody nose, black eyes. I said, he hit me and I got a black eye. I got mad. He gave me a bloody nose. You know, I said, oh, different things. I said, oh, I became a little afraid because I didn't know how to deal with it.
No, very confident. I think he feels
These
he's
guys
got
are here to
Urquidez
make
number.
How good are you under pressure? Do you get mad if you get hit? Do you become afraid? Do you get frustrated?
Karate. He's the first.
Full contact is a step towards another dimension of combat, pain, and its physical and mental consequences.
Benny, throw those combinations. Lefts, rights, all to the head.
He's got a taste of it now. He's on it.
Ooh.
I can't count the punches and kicks that are coming in.
Look at those combinations. Ooh, Sugar Ray Leonard
He's trying to come back.
Sugar Ray Leonard with speed. Look at him go. Beautiful.
Oka wants to hang on. Urquidez says no.
It says it's time, baby. It's time. Thrust kick. Oh, look at that
here
right.
He's down.
Eyes rolled back in his head.
I don't think he's coming up.
What a fantastic fight.
That's the end of this fight right there. He's not
I
going
said, this is what I must do. I must put the threat to people to bring up their emotions so they learn how to deal with it. That's why 24, 25 years later, I'm still doing it. I'm teaching people the reality of it. The real thing. Bring up the emotions and deal with it. That's what the art's all about. So Majid, Majid. Here's what I'm looking for. Come on. Okay, you got good energy. The energy today, okay, is calm. Hey, nice and calm. Okay? The explosion, have fun, making mistakes, try things that you normally wouldn't try. Okay? Dude, because all the other good stuff you know you got. Hey, this would be a good time to try things that you normally don't try. Maybe even that triple kick. Yeah, you never know. You see, when we're kids, we are programmed with our parents. Don't touch that, you'll burn yourself. Don't go outside, it's dark. Don't talk to that stranger. Don't climb up that stairs, you're gonna hurt yourself. So we put fear in them to protect them. But then as they get older, they have all this fear in their subconscious mind. So now they have all this fear as an adult, and then all of a sudden somebody comes in and confronts them, and all of a sudden they become afraid because in their subconscious mind, maybe their father used to yell at them and confront them, and now they're afraid. So they go to a dojo to build the confidence, self-esteem. And if this dojo does not teach that, and they only teach you how to kick and punch, I don't care how hard you punch, how hard you kick, if you cannot control the mind. See, what controls the mind controls the body, which houses the spirit. So if your mind is captured by fear, your whole body's captured. If your mind's captured by anger, your whole body's captured. So if you're not dealing, if the teacher is not teaching the mental discipline, then the rest of the body is nothing. He can be a great kicker, a great puncher, but if you don't have a strong mind,
don't go straight
it's
back.
wasteless.
Straight back. Hands in.
It's useless. It doesn't work.
Don't go straight back. Those hands go to your face.
I've seen these kickboxers bounce back like they've never been touched. They come out fresh and they come out swinging.
They really have great handlers, don't they, Howard?
Oh, they do. They've got tricks we haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah. Well, they're not wasting any time. They're going right back at it.
Suzuki's going on the attack.
Try to take the legs away from Benny if you can.
Oh, good
beautiful.
high round kick followed by
Benny's
left.
he's down.
Yes.
He's down. Benny hit him with several combinations. The mouthpiece is out.
When Benny Urquidez founded kickboxing in the 1970s, martial arts were attracting more and more interest, swept along with the global success of kung fu films and the charisma of one man, Bruce Lee.
I mean, here it is the natural instinct, and here is control. You are to combine the two in harmony. Not if you have one to the extreme, you will be very unscientific. If you have another to the extreme, you become all of a sudden a mechanical man, no longer a human being. So it is a successful combination of both. So therefore, it is not only, therefore it's not pure naturalness or unnaturalness. The ideal is unnatural naturalness or natural unnaturalness.
Yin yang, eh?
Right, man, that's it.
I didn't understand when I was listening to Bruce Lee, when I was a little kid listening to him doing demonstration stuff, I didn't understand what he said. I used to tell my brother, what does that mean? What is he saying? And my brother was trying to explain to me the philosophy.
And when you're talking about combat, well, I mean, if it is a sport, now you're talking about something else. You have regulations, you have rules. But when you're talking about fighting as it is,
rules.
With no rules,
Not real fighting.
well then, baby, you better train every part of your body. And when you do punch, now I'm leaning forward a little bit, hoping not to hurt any camera angle. I mean, you gotta put the whole hip into it and snap it and get all your energy in there and make this into a weapon.
Real fighting, where no punches would be pulled, there would be no weight categories, and the referee wouldn't come in to separate the opponents. Where it would finally be possible, as in warrior tournaments of ancient times, to crown the best fighter. This confrontation was to be called the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Now there's a lot of strategy now.
Bill, that's not unusual to have a fight just like that go to the ground.
So I, with a friend of mine came up with the concept of developing a tournament. a no-holds-barred tournament between different styles of martial arts. Because every martial art, you know, the practitioners, these karate instructors or kung fu or boxing or whatever that is, they all think that their style of martial arts is the best. Everybody who does self-defense or get into martial arts, they do it because they want to become more proficient. They do it because they want to say, yes, I can really fight well. It's a man thing. They have the ego thinking, yes, I'm the best fighter in the world. I can really fight well. And I have fighters, 8 different styles of martial arts. And the idea was to have, you know, one person from each style of martial art. They would compete against one another. The losers would get out. The winners would fight amongst themselves. And then eventually have one champion to end up with one guy who is the best fighter in the world.
And there's a nice clinch right there, and that's probably exactly where he wants him to be.
In this all-in tournament, the fights are staged without gloves and with no time limits until one fighter gives up. Only eye gouging and biting are not allowed. The referee is there only to prevent irreparable damage.
I think we're just missing teeth there.
No time limit, because I don't want to say, well, it's only a 5-minute round or 10-minute round. I think that would be very bad. So the fights would go on with no time limit. The fights until one guy drops. Makes it just like a real street fight. There will be no points. There will be no referee. There's nothing. The guys walk into a room, into a ring, and then they fight each other until one person quits. And it shouldn't even be like a boxing ring, because I've seen enough fights where in a boxing ring, when the guy's getting beat up, he kind of runs away through the ropes.
Against jiu-jitsu, boxing is so incredibly limited by comparison.
Organising this tournament was illegal in most states of the US, which forbid bare-knuckle fights. However, the first competition took place in 1993 in Denver, Colorado.
Very difficult to change, Jim.
Yeah, it takes many years to perfect any technique and to just try to add some things to get ready for all of these different
You're going to see a clinch here, I suspect, anytime real soon. That's what Royce's strategy is right now. As the Brazilians always say, if you have a good clinch, you have good jiu-jitsu.
I think there's a little bit too much strategy. They're going to have to do something pretty soon, because I think Art is a little bit worried here.
There it is. There's and he's on the ground. Now we're watching Royce take the mount position.
The winner of the first competition was Royce Gracie, an expert in jiu-jitsu.
Not a good place.
Royce, my brother Royce, the smallest and lightest guy in the tournament, chokes everybody out, wins everybody real quick, as I thought he would.
I'm not faster than anybody. I'm just on the right timing. Doesn't mean that I'm fast. A lot of people look at me and say, Royce is fast. I'm not fast. I'm just on the right timing. I do exactly how everybody does. I'm not stronger than anybody. I just know how to use the leverage. People look at me and say, Royce is very strong. No, I'm not strong. I don't consider myself strong. I just know the right leverage. All that we learned from my father learned from the Japanese. He just developed those two things, the timing, the relax, and leverage. He just developed that.
Gracie's method is to get under the opponent's guard early, tackle him, and bring him down. Once on the floor, a stranglehold or lock forces him to surrender. His mastery of both technique and psychology were to make Royce Gracie one of the great fighters of the 1990s.
This is not a good place.
When I imagine my opponent, I'll imagine my opponent 7 feet tall, 500 pounds, pure muscle, with 4 legs, 3 arms, 2 heads. That's my opponent, the worst enemy. What I'm trying to say is, the worst enemy for you is inside of your head, is your imagination. Once I learn that no matter what he can do,
I'm sure will be the gentleman like always.
whatever he does, I'm going to be able to get out and catch him in a submission hold. I'm safe. So I'm not fighting my opponent. My fight started many months ago, fighting my imagination.
More importantly, he doesn't beat people up to win the fight. Royce goes in there and shows that you can defeat your opponent without having to punch the guy, without getting hurt,
and in a very friendly way. He almost hugs his enemies, very friendly, puts them to sleep a little bit, or twists their arms a little bit, and they tap out, and they're very humane.
There's the tap. There's the tap.
For Jim Brown, for Kathy Long, for Ron Machado.
Ultimate Fighting became the victim of its own success. In later series, the bouts had to be fitted into the time constraints of American television.
Today they put a time limit, so the bigger and stronger wins. Because it's such a short amount of time, the smaller guy don't have time to work on it, to make the big guy tired. On the beginning, there was a lot of martial artist people over there. Today, I think there's a lot of big guys that just brawlers.
First of all, it's not an art. There's no discipline in it. And you know, but that's something will be, it's like a tough man contest, and a tough man contest with no respect.
Il y a des grands noms comme Gracie qui sont entrés dans ce domaine-là, et je pense que le travail qu'ils font, c'est vraiment un travail qui est relativement dur. Maintenant, l'activité par elle-même, ça me fait trop rappeler les jeux antiques, et c'est un peu quand même bestial, quoi.
People's curiosity about this sort of spectacle may have declined, but to counter Royce Gracie's techniques, there has been a search for new disciplines that are more comprehensive and more effective.
Shoot wrestling is Japanese new martial arts, but all martial arts put together. Not only Japanese, not only jiu-jitsu, judo, kimono.
The kimono may have gone, but these disciplines combine all the martial arts techniques: throwing, floor work, kicking, and punching. The idea is to master all of them.
Hey, Justin, speed! Hands up, never drop down. First, I was not strong. I was a child. I always cry every day. So I want to be strong, man. And at that time, I went to theater. I saw Bruce Lee's movie. Oh, big shock. So he is a pioneer of free fighting. He practiced punching, kicking, and throwing, submission, finger jab, groin kick, everything. I very respect my hero.
Bruce Lee developed his technique as if he were a street fighter. His inspiration came less from the primitive warrior spirit than from an idea of urban conflict. Shoot wrestling claims to be the sporting version, with its own rules.
If you don't have rule, you injure right away. So you cannot keep practice. So we need a rule for practice. So lift up, you cut, okay? Then put shoulder up, bend chicken wing. Okay, one, twist. Wrist lock, straight arm, okay? V arm lock, and kilo arm lock, 3 points. And triangle hold, okay? Kisagatame, okay? Straight arm bar, 1 and 2. Neck rock. And V cross, 1, 2, 3. And twist arm rock, 1, 2, 3, 4. Telephone. And triangle hold. Chicken wing number 2. Rock headsters. Arm bar. Okay, wrist lock. Pick 'em up. Reverse, 1, 2, 3. How many people remember? Hands up. Okay, practice. My dream, shoot wrestling become an Olympic sport.
A single opponent, a ring, a referee, a rule book, a fight without major physical risks. None of it matches the conditions of actual fighting. Actual, primitive fighting with your survival at stake means fighting without knowing how many adversaries there will be, or even when or where it will happen. This is what law and order professionals train for. The elite tactical response group of the French gendarmerie has won its reputation by using weapons only as a last resort.
Si l'on nous appelle, c'est que les unités, je dirais, conventionnelles ne peuvent pas réaliser ce genre de mission, donc on fait appel à nous. À partir de là, tout peut arriver.
Encore une petite fois. Un petit peu plus vite sur la tête. Voilà. Et une dernière petite fois. Alors, on recommence au ralenti. Donc, il est ici, il va commencer à frapper. C'est à moi de frapper. Maintenant, il est à grande distance. C'est pas à moi d'avancer parce que lui va corriger la trajectoire. C'est à lui d'avancer et on s'apercevra qu'il lui faudra 2 temps pour arriver à moi. Tu m'attaques. 1, 2.
Subduing a violently disturbed person, a hostage situation, protection of heads of state and venues. This squad trains in judo, karate and boxing, as well as the Israeli Army's Krav Maga. Krav meaning combat, Maga meaning contact, hand-to-hand fighting.
Où il pensait avoir encore un autre temps avant de m'atteindre. Allez.
On a coutume de dire que la sueur épargne le sang dans les milieux militaires et policiers, mais c'est très vrai, parce qu'il faut pousser le réalisme au plus près. Donc ça nous met dans un état d'esprit complètement différent par rapport à un athlète qui va aller au dojo, même 10 fois par semaine, faire des compétitions de quelque niveau qu'il que ce soit. Nous sommes dans la réalité.
Si je fais un mouvement, tu tires. Ok, encore. De nouveau, un mouvement, tu tires. Voilà. Alors l'idée, c'est que quand c'est ici, pareil, si je fais un mouvement, tu tires. Au moment où moi je fais la parade, j'efface le corps. Ici, c'est pas possible d'effacer le corps, ça m'aide pas beaucoup. Ce qu'il faut faire, c'est une esquive avec la tête. Tu tires. Hein. Ce qui me permettra d'ajouter la vitesse de la main avec la vitesse de l'esquive. De nouveau. Voilà, et ça c'est encore. Arrivé ici, bon, il va y avoir 15, 20 ou 30 coups de poing. S'il est dangereux, et on retire le pistolet. Si on est attaqué d'une certaine façon, il n'y a pas 36 solutions, il y a quelques solutions, il faut les apprendre et il faut surtout rester simple et efficace.
Keep it simple and effective. That is, as the Samurai Warriors Code insisted, do nothing without a purpose, because a useless action can be fatal. Here, it's not a matter of winning, but of overcoming violence to save lives.
En fait, la pratique martiale aide à se forger un mental solide. Bon, nous intervenons bien sûr toujours en armes, mais nous sommes sûrs de nos techniques à main nue, nous sommes sûrs de notre force physique. Nous passons énormément de temps à l'entraînement et de par là même, nous pouvons repousser toujours plus loin l'usage de notre arme. Et ça, c'est très important.
And we came up with a couple of techniques, very simple to utilize, that you can utilize in the field. So we came up with a couple of techniques, couple of strikes, couple of blocks, couple of kicks.
Mike Young uses a score of different fighting systems to train the Los Angeles SWAT teams, the police rapid intervention units. In a country where 1 person in 4 owns a gun, the police have put the emphasis on weapons training. But carrying a gun doesn't necessarily guarantee you can deal with a confrontation.
Back, move. Okay, very good. Relax for a second.
You know, officers have been killed with their own weapons. The gun is taken away, and the suspect will kill them. And so that's how my training evolved for a no-nonsense self-defense system within the SWAT team.
Again, ready, move. Stand. Again, ready, move. Very nice. Again, ready, move. Good. Take it out.
The type of fighting that the police do is quick and to the point. We also wear a lot of gear. We also wear boots. We wear belts. We have a gun on. We wear a vest. So we're restricted in our movement. So we don't have time to stretch. We don't have a lot of range of movement. Our movements must be quick and short and effective. Try to hit through the vital areas. Sensitive areas that will cause the most damage. With empty hands, we would strike probably the facial area or the solar plex, sensitive areas of the face.
Okay, what we want is you strike just boom, just like this, with the impact right on the heel of the palm, just like that. Okay. So when they do the palm heel strike, boom, just like this, come back online here. Okay. Also, when you throw the shot, make sure you don't do this. Okay. A lot of guys go like this and hit them like this, and you might think the thumb out, no big deal. But if you miss and you hit here on the side of the head here, and you hit your thumb, you might break your thumb. How do I know? I broke my thumb before, okay? When I went like this, bam, and I hit. Hey, what the fuck you guys doing? Yeah! Fuck out of my fucking house! Good, stop.
Excellent kick.
Very nice, very nice. Dig in, now watch my foot. I twist, I move my foot away, okay? Just like that, all right? Let's try it out with each other. Go nice and slow. We'll take our time. We're all wearing vests, and so take our time because you gotta dig into the clavicle and the back of the neck, all right? So let's try it. Ready? Go, palm heel. Okay, now dig into the clavicle and the back and twist. And your palm should face the sky at the end.
So I've been on the street for quite a few years, and I got my street experience. And many martial artists, they don't have any street experience, so they take in something that they were taught by their instructor or their master, and they say this is supposed to work. Well, a lot of times they don't know what really works because they haven't really been tested out on the street. They haven't felt the pavement, they haven't felt the cold, they haven't felt the the glass cutting into their flesh. They haven't really been put in a situation where a knife is pulled. I ask them, how many knife fights you've been in? Many of them can't say anything. I've had several times where a knife was pulled on me and all I had was my personal weapons that I had to use to take away the weapon.
Outside law enforcement, others have gone further in no-rules fighting. The self-defense enthusiasts. They draw on the tactics of ancient warriors to come up with the technical and mental resources needed in actual combat. One of these adepts is Dean Murray, an expert in Kung Fu Sansu, a Chinese martial art.
Nice shot.
Thought about it.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Having been in, unfortunately, in situations where there's real violence, and then also knowing the difference between that and competitive, how do you then relate that back to history? You know, what makes sense? What did they really do? What was it really like on a battlefield in 1066? What was it like to go into battle with 10,000 other guys and everybody has an axe? You know, it's not a pretty sight. Plus, you have to have a very acute understanding of how the body works because you're not shooting somebody from 300 yards away, you're 3 feet away. And it's going to be life or death, and it's going to be life or death right now.
Nah. Sorry.
Whoa! Boom. Get in, back in. Boom. Whoa. Come on. Whoa. Shift. Shift. Whoa. 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 Yeah. As you come closer and closer, as you enter this fighting distance, things happen very fast, and your conscious mind is way too slow to try to see everything that's happening and then make a decision. If I can feel an opponent's body, if I can feel where his weight's going, I have an understanding of exactly what his potential is and where his potential isn't. And if I can move that weight somewhere, now I can start to predict the only few paths he has left to get out. I'm not guessing what he's doing next. I'll know, and I'll be there waiting for him. By hitting you with weight, and all you're going to see is this weight turn here. By having that weight turn, I can get a direct transfer because I've got straight bone. Yeah. I'm not bending the elbow. I'm not muscularly doing anything. All I'm doing is moving this way. All right? Everything we're going to be
The
doing
precision of these moves is an integral part of the martial arts technique, the knowledge that generations of fighters have relied on.
Body weight. And hitting portions, hitting organs, boom, boom, that are now making his body shut off. So we'll do that by one, moving my body and allowing my body weight to move him. He's now in a position where he's off balance. Before he can hurt me, he has to do one thing. He has to get back on balance. So on that exact same movement, I'm going to swing my body weight in and hit on the liver. As my body weight comes through, I'm going to come straight down with a hammer to the side of the neck. So we're here.
boom, 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 boom. At what we consider a self-defense level, I don't like that term because simply it's implying that I'm walking around with some sort of shield around me, and that's not the way it works. But to develop awareness of, in any given situation, what's around you, what are the potentials of what can happen to you, that's a good thing. It's a very unique thing to develop.
We may question the appropriateness of an ideal of mastery that assumes other people are a threat. We may question this fascination for techniques which, outside the narrow context of legitimate defense, are outlawed. But self-defense has become a major tendency of martial arts in an attempt to project an image of modern-day samurais. But the samurai spirit, handed down from generations of warriors, was born in particular historical circumstances. Japan, after being torn apart by feudal wars, enjoyed 2.5 centuries of peace, during which it closed itself off from foreigners. Samurai warriors delved deeper into symbolic dimensions of combat and its potential as initiation. This approach became the basis for what was called, at the turn of the century, martial arts. In Kendo, although swords of wood or bamboo replaced the warrior's sword, the samurai's principle was one blow, one life. The action had to be perfect, that is, lethal.
死に直面して心が動くか動かないかというその試すわけですからね。だから試合で、だから試合の場合には私らの場合はもう真剣勝負だと思ってやりますからね。切られれば命なくなるんだからというように、ただ市内の打ち合いだけじゃない。だって今はそうやって勝負のことで勝てばいい負ければいいなんていうことになるから、だから初めはそれでいいんですよ。初めはね、今はそれでいいけども、こんな勝ち負けじゃないんだ。剣道っていうのは一緒の修行だから、人間を作る修行だから、だからこれは競技じゃないんだから、スポーツじゃないんだから、勝った負けじゃないんだから、お互い同士ずっと一緒になって立派になっていこうと。お互いにその不十分なところは直し合ってね、欠点を直し合ってお互いが立派になっていこうというのがこれは剣道ですから。
Ce qui est fondamentalement différent des arts martiaux et du sport, c'est qu'on place le critère de victoire ou critère de jugement soit intérieur ou soit à l'extérieur. C'est-à-dire que, quelle que soit la pratique, quel que soit le contenu de votre pratique, à partir du moment où les juges portent une opinion favorable, vous êtes vainqueur. Tandis que dans les arts martiaux japonais, ces critères doivent être premièrement apportés à l'intérieur de soi-même. On cherche à mener le combat satisfaisant pour vous et pour celui qui est capable de voir.
Âgé de 74 ans, à Maître Sato, un civil tiers-dan, âgé de 80 ans.
What you need to be able to see are the infinite details by which the two combatants size each other up. The way they hold their shoulders, lean back, or keep contact. It's when hardly anything is happening, when the points of the shinai contest the center, that the moment of attack is being prepared. Under the surface of this standoff, a field of communication is being established between the two opponents. This combat of the body and mind sparks off an energy that the Japanese call ki.
木というのはね、大変難しいですよね。どういう表現をしたらそれが木だということはね、なかなかできませんよ。例えばね、剣道で構いますね。攻めになりますね。攻めますよね。ということはね、自分よりも段がうんと上の人だったらね、その人がね、ただ突っ立っているだけなんですね。というように見えるわけですよ。ところが打っていかれないんですよ。金縛りにあったみたいな。ね。それはやっぱり木なんですね。
26歳でしたからね。
26歳。
軍司令部いたためにね。それからね、完全釈放まで10年。
10年か。
死刑囚生活が2年いたんですがね。しかし2年間の修行は大変でした。木曜日の夜が執行日ですから、その日が来るとね、静かなもの。呼び出しは自分の部屋をね、通り越すと、過ぎた。また間違って戻りはしねえかとか。誰かどこかでこう引き出されていくしね、それをお送りしたけどね、送っていったけど、結局ハリー先生の言うような自分の肉体の力強く働くというのは大きな生命力を生んでいくから、中において生命力はね大きくなったわけなんですよ。やはりこの宇宙性の生命力を持たなきゃとても耐えていけませんな。そのために一応呼吸法を毎日吐く力と腹筋の力、腹圧の力がね全てですよ、人間の。
Ki in Japanese and chi in Chinese share the same ideogram, since the roots of the Japanese martial arts are to be found in China.
气呢，在身体的转身转动，气要到什么地方，你打上来，它就没有感觉，啊。那么同样，比方这个部位，它一般的人不容易碰。那么我把气，就是用意把气灌到这个部位，同样还，啊，它也没有感觉，不痛。 先把它的重心过来，腹把它的重心出去，啊，它是它高，这个不用腹泻，你看，啊，公平啊，我吸，我吸，这样肚子的气，啊，起码像我6岁 练到现在，啊，60多年了，啊，有的人你练几年，他没有办法领会这个气。
This acquisition of qi, so essential to Eastern culture, has been understood differently in the West.
I think you develop it through a sense of groundedness, just doing your system, your art. You develop certain, I guess, super normal, if lack for a better term, maybe powers for that matter. But I don't think it's anything that mystical. I don't think it's anything that that magical that you go like this and you'll repulse somebody away, or you do this and your chi will flow out and knock somebody down or anything like that.
Number one, where they normally say, you know, ki or chi develops from, you know, down here, down below your navel between your hip bones, is not anything magical at all. It's a work of physics. The hip structure, your 2 hip bones, okay, is the seat of your weight, which is one of the reasons in moving in these horse stances that I've talked about before, where that weight is rolling, you know, you've got this whole weight rolling, moving my entire weight. That's where that supposedly that chi is. That's what they're describing. Just a work of physics. Great engineering.
Whether it's ki or knowledge of the body's mechanics, this mastery of action rests on a universal principle. It is acquired by long practice. The practitioner must learn to be fully present mentally in each movement, so that there is no longer any strain or effort, only natural vigilance. Freed from all agitation, the mind becomes capable of instantaneous, instinctive awareness. Trained for precision and endurance, the body finds the right action, the correct stance. By becoming used to confrontation, the practitioner no longer fears it and becomes able to channel the violence that arises. Extended, regular practice of the actions of ancestral warriors can lead to a new understanding of the laws of the universe.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.